Today we're going to learn a little bit about gardening based on some of my experiences I had when I was growing up, and for the past couple of years I've had a garden. So I'm going to take you through a couple of the steps that I've learned to how to do a simple garden. It's a lot of hard work, but it's very rewarding to grow your own food and to know how. So the very first thing you need to do is decide where you want to put your garden. For me, I'm on the west side of my house, which in Phoenix, Arizona, it's pretty hot in the summertime, but I also have fencing that I can use shade, and I've got sources for water and everything like that. And in the evening, late afternoon and evening, when we need a lot of shade for the plants here, I'll be able to have that as well. So basically, I just dug up this plot here with this rototiller, and I'm having a hard time getting it started, but what it does is just goes through and it picks up all the dirt and tills it in and everything. And then if you want to come over here, after I've tilled this whole plot, I went through and sifted all of the dirt through a strainer here so that you can get rid of any grass, weeds, or dirt, or I'm sorry, rocks, and sift all of the things out that you really don't want in your garden anyway, and you're left with some nice dirt here, which is what you want. You don't need a lot of rockiness and everything. So once that is done, you just spread all of the dirt out on your plot, and then you can take steer manure. You can use different kinds of compost. You can compost your own things, but this particular thing I got at Lowe's, and it's steer manure, and it's already composted, which means it's already broken down. So you can basically open it up on your garden and rake it in and till it under, and you can plant your plants that day with either seeds or whether you've already got your plants started. You can put them right in the ground then. So this is steer manure. Now if you have a local source for some type of compost, if you go on Craigslist, sometimes you can find people that have horses and stuff. You will need to probably let that break down for several months before you actually incorporate it into your garden. Your garden tilled, and you might want to start thinking about what you want to plant. You can plant from seeds, which we have here. You can get different varieties, and I like the heirloom varieties. Those are natural seeds, the seeds that haven't been modified in any way. They're kind of expensive, but you can find them at your local nursery, or you can order them online, or you could already buy things at your local nursery that they've already started for you, or you could start your own several months before it's ready to plant your garden. You could start your own that way, and then you can just transplant these into the garden. Now Ernie has a special project. I'm doing my garden on the side of the house. That's going to be all the vegetables and things like that. And Ernie has a special place out in the other part of our yard that he's going to do his own little thing out there. So he'll let you know what that is, but he wanted a chance to go ahead and try to do his own thing. So another thing you're probably going to want to do is, if you live in a rural area, or even, I don't know, even in the city, because we had issues in the city with birds getting into your garden and things like that, rabbits, squirrels, we had gophers, everything like that. They all want to eat what's in your garden. So we took some fencing material. We had collected signposts from, geez, we've been dragging around signposts for probably about 15 years now. And so what we did is you can take this post hole digger, has a hole on the end, and you take one of these poles and you just stick it on there. And usually have the guys do this, but you can just drive it into the ground. It's a pretty easy way, and you just drive it into the ground. So what I've done is I've actually put all these posts around my garden, and then we put up, you can get chicken wire at Home Depot or Lowe's or anywhere, and then we secured it with these, they're called bar ties, and it's really kind of cool, because what they do is they just go around the post. They go around the post, and they already have holes in them, and you can stick a screwdriver in there or something long and just twist them. But they're pretty strong, and it'll just hold your fencing into place. So the next step is to actually get all of the dirt tilled in with the manure and start planting. Okay, getting ready to do another section of garden. I'm going to go ahead and put a bunch of them in, it says about 1 cubic foot per bag. So I just laid these down in order, and then what I like to do with this particular garden, in the past I've done gardens where you've had the whole thing is a garden and you got to tramp through the dirt and mud and everything, and it's kind of hard to get around without making a mess, and the divots and everything, because the ground level of the garden should be as level as possible, so you're not getting puddles of water in different areas and won't allow it to go into the plants and everything. So what I want to do is just kind of do it in sections, and I'll put, haven't figured out what I'm going to put in here yet, but what I did yesterday was I did this section. These are all of my tomatoes, and now these I got from the nursery already. They're already grown for probably, I don't know, a month or two. They've already grown up. And so what I did was I took the dirt and tilled it in and everything and leveled it off, planted the tomato plants, and then I found some old carpet. We have a bulk trash day, and I went down the street and there was some people getting rid of the carpet. So I laid down strips of carpeting, and then I put my plants in here, and it's kind of easier to compartmentalize this way, and easier to keep kind of the water in these sections, and having this strip, you can put plastic, or we have some strips of coroplast here we might use from a lot of the sign making stuff we did years ago. And then you can just walk on it this way and then just compartmentalize it in sections. And another thing is that if you have it, you can do a plot like this that's kind of big, and if you have a strip of a walkway here, you'll be able to reach maybe about 3 feet in on this side, and then if you have another walkway around here, you'll be able to reach in 3 feet on this side. So it's kind of I'm interested to try to see how this works. It looks like it's a good way to organize your garden. So next is cutting open the bags and tilling it into the dirt. The next step after you've tilled your soil and strained it out of all the rocks and the grass and everything, and evened it out somewhat, is then to go ahead and put the steer manure down. This is your compost that will feed your garden. It'll give it a big boost. So I've opened the other bags here. So this is probably the best way to do it. That way it's all organized. Once you get your piles and the little piece that you want to do, then you just rake this over the area that you're going to till it into to flatten it out a little bit. You can use your tiller to till it into the soil. After you've tilled that, you can rake it again to smooth it out, and then you'll have nice aerated soil. The aerated it's loose, it can get nutrients and water down into it a lot easier. You don't want to be walking on it. So that's the next step, is to rake it even. And leveled your dirt, and it's time to plant. So what I'm planting right now are carrots, and basically when you plant the seed, you're supposed to plant it about, this says about 1/4 to 1 inch down. Generally you plant them about double what they are, as double as the seed is big. So none of the seeds generally need to go that deep. So basically I'll be making rows long ways and just planting about whatever the instructions say here, about every 1/2 inch. So you'll have carrots popping up. I made the mistake one time of just sprinkling them on there, and I had way too many carrots in any one area, and they ended up not growing very well. They ended up being very small. So if you do, you have to put a seed or two in each spacing, and you'll get a pretty good yield of carrots. So this is the fun part. Get down on your knees and